The important thing to note about what the Supreme Court had to say is that the committee that it's asked to be initiated or formed will have, of course, representation from the farmers' side, but also the fact that this is not to mediate between the farmers and the government. That responsibility is on the government to mediate and negotiate and talk to the farmers to really come to a consensus. The Supreme Court came down quite hard, in fact, on the government, saying that how could this have been allowed to stretch on for so long? And as far as the farmers are concerned, they've sort of welcomed the decisions to put the implementation of the laws on hold for now. Listen in.
A committee has been formed. Some names for the members on that committee have been suggested, and they will proceed accordingly. Today, the Honorable Supreme Court has put a stay on all the three farm laws against which we had put petitions.
We have been protesting here in adverse weather conditions. There have been more than 70 deaths and sacrifices by our farmer brothers during the protests. After 4 months, they're saying that a committee will be formed. This is not fair.
The farmers, of course, are quite unrelenting in their demand that nothing short of a repeal of these laws would work for them. In fact, they're saying that they would continue with their protests. And also on the Republic Day, India's Republic Day, it falls on the 26th of Jan, when a massive parade is carried out in the heart of New Delhi to showcase the might of India, its defense artillery, etc. The farmers would be holding a parallel protest with tractor rallies across the country. So the farmers are really hardening their stance, but we'll have to wait and see if this sort of committee that can restart this dialogue, which has now for the past 8 rounds of talks remained inconclusive.
For more on this, Sunil Poshakwale joins us now from Birmingham. He's a Professor of International Finance at the Cranfield School of Management. Good to have you back with us, Sunil. Now, we know tens of thousands of farmers have been protesting against these laws for the past 6 weeks now. So this Supreme Court decision is a victory for them and their supporters, isn't it?
I won't call it like that. I think there are worries on both sides. The worries for the farmers, of course, is that the negotiations or the talks with the government doesn't seem to be progressing as well as they would have thought it would. And the same worry government has. And as your reporter was saying that, the 26th January, which is the Republic Day of India, when there is a big parade and a big show of Indian culture and military strength and so on and so forth, when hundreds of thousands of people come to witness that, the farmers have been threatening to disrupt that 26th January ceremony. I think the government has been quite worried about that. They are worried about the lawlessness and disruptions and chaos it could cause. So the stepping in of Supreme Court is although not exactly a welcome move, because after all the laws were made by the parliament, by the elected representatives, and who have every right to legislate. And this Supreme Court decision is seen by some as unnecessary interference into the government matters. But that's where the matters are, yes.
So the Modi government argues that these reforms are needed to modernise India's farming sector, make it more market-friendly. But one of the main fears of the farmers was that this approach will ultimately undercut their earnings. It'll erode the minimum price for their goods, which has been in place for years now. Is that a genuine fear on the farmers' part, that perhaps they would be at the mercy of corporations?
No, it's not. And I said on your program before as well that the 3 laws, the agriculture market-related bill, the contract farming related bill, and the bill related to the commodities, all 3 have excellent points, really, which are very progressive. they actually give farmers a far more freedom to sell their produce wherever they like. In fact, I don't know whether you are aware, but there have been rallies. In fact, today there has been a rally in favor of the laws in Jammu and Kashmir. Now, Jammu and Kashmir farmers haven't been able to sell their produce throughout India because there have been restrictions because of the existing system of having to sell their produce only through the local yards prevented them from selling to rest of India. So the farmers in many parts of India are quite happy with the laws. I think the problem has been that there has been some misinformation and also some misinterpretation of laws, particularly with related to minimum support price. I think the government has been talking to them, and the hope is that the farmers will actually see that in the long run, this is going to give them huge benefits and get rid of the middlemen, the local yards who have been actually, instead of creating the infrastructure for enabling the buy and sell of agriculture produce, they have become a source of revenue generation.
Okay, Sunil Poshakwale, we'll see how long it takes for this committee of experts to come up with some findings on these reforms. Thank you again for joining us to discuss this issue.
Pleasure.